Hey everybody, we have an Australian Labradoodle puppy video update for you. Today we are going to be talking about the Rosebuds litter. These puppies are 3 weeks old, so we're going to tell you a little bit about each of the puppies individually. We're going to talk a bit about socialization and toys, and we're also going to give you an update on Mama Labradoodle Jojo here. Hi, I'm Claire from Isle Labradoodles, and these mini Australian Labradoodle puppies are 3 weeks old. And this is our Rosebuds litter, so named because they are a box of little rosebud chocolates. And that used to be something I loved as a kid. And Jojo here, the mama to this litter, is still doing just a great job with her puppies. Now you'll see she's not quite as attentive as she was on the previous 2 videos. You'll see she's also enjoying playing with the toys. She's checking her puppies, but she's not too keen on the idea of actually lying down and letting them nurse at the moment. And that's because Jojo is a little bit ahead of things and a little bit ahead of herself and thinking that maybe it's about time to start weaning these puppies. So 3 weeks is a little too early for them to be having solid food, but apparently Jojo hasn't read that memo. Have you, Jojo? So she's still in with her puppies all the time. They have full access to her. She's just telling them that it's not going to be much longer now, and then this milk bar is going to go on vacation. So sometimes you'll see she does, as she is right now, where she does the stand-up nurse. And that is not the easiest thing for the puppies because they can't quite reach her, and they certainly can't reach her comfortably. So what we do to help everybody out is we go in and sit with Jojo, and we encourage her, as I'm doing right now, just to lie down and give the puppies more of an opportunity to be sure that they get their full time at the milk bar. And these two are obviously figuring they need a little bit more time. But as you can see, watching these 2 puppies here, they are clearly not lacking in nutrition. These are fat, juicy, plump puppies who are totally well fed. And you'll see how they've already said, oh, no thanks. And that's probably because Jojo doesn't have anything in the milk bar right now because they've already nursed. But these 2 apparently are little piglets and always hoping for a little bit of an extra bit of a slurp there. So we'll just let them go and see what happens, and if they can find some, they can go ahead. In the meantime, Jojo is still doing all the cleanup. As you can see there, she's making sure that red collar is still eliminating. The puppies are able to eliminate on their own now. They have enough strength in their legs and enough coordination that they're able to stand up and pee without falling over or poop without falling over. So that's really what is the difference between when mom has to stimulate them to go, is because they can't actually control their bodies enough for the movement to happen. So they've made great strides this past week. You can see the little tails are going, and you can see that their other ones are all quite content to be having a nap here on their crate mat. The other big news for the litter is we have moved them. So they are no longer in the maternity ward. We've moved them out into our doodle den. Jojo was fairly vocal about telling us that she'd had enough of being shut away from the rest of the world, and she wanted to be out and about more. So we always listen to our moms and our puppies and figure out what they're telling us. And since that's what she was telling us, we obliged and we moved her. We had one of our other litters go home, so we had an opening that we could make for her. So now the puppies have way more space to move around. And that's important at this point in their development so that they can start to get more coordination and more muscle strength, because that is, of course, part of being an older puppy and developing. So they have more room to run around. We are also starting to develop them so that they learn this is where we sleep. They have a bed now. Not like this one, they have an actual bed. This is just a crate mat, but they have a full bed, and then they have an area where there's pee pads so that they can learn that we don't pee and poo where we sleep and eat. We move away from there. And then the other thing we're introducing these puppies to is toys. So I've got a selection of different ones here because toys are something we think of as, oh, that's just something fun and something we buy our kids and something that we just do every now and then as a treat. But for puppies, toys are really important in their development. It's important that we have the right toys at the right time. And it's also important that we have safe toys. We don't want to be giving puppies toys that we just buy anywhere that could possibly potentially cause them harm. So there's lots of considerations with toys, even though it seems like something like, oh, you just go buy your puppy a toy. So for instance, we do not recommend that you buy many of the toys that you can find in the larger big box pet stores. Many of those are foreign sourced. A lot of them are very poorly constructed, and it's easy for your puppy to chew off a little bit, swallow it, and all sorts of problems ensue and costly vet bills. So what we have here is just a selection of what we would offer a 3-week-old litter. So first we have this great big toy. This is our big floppy buddy. So it crinkles, as you can hear, which is a really good desensitization thing for the puppies, so they get used to different sounds. The bunny also has lots of different squeakers, so pretty much wherever the puppies might choose to bite, they're going to find a squeaker. Again, desensitizing the puppies. So you'll see when I do that, they're all looking and they're all curious, but they aren't at all afraid, and that's what we want. We want them just to be accepting and welcoming of new experiences. Then these great big ears, they have corduroy on the inside, a plush on the outside. The tail, again, is a different surface. You can see JoJo's running around. She said she didn't want to be in with the puppies, and instead she's gone and gotten a different toy that she figures is good for her. JoJo is a toy hound. She just loves them. And then inside, again, we have another soft plush sort of feel to it. So what you'll find the puppies do when we have this toy out for them, they'll chew on this toy, they'll get the squeakers to go, and they'll also sleep on this toy because it's something that's soft and cuddly and very welcoming and comforting to them. Then this little toy here, this is made by hand in Canada from all natural clothing grade fabric. And again, this is something that's appropriate when they're just starting to teeth, because you'll see it has lots of give in it, lots of space. So even if you're just small like these guys are and you don't have a lot of strength in your jaw, this is really comfortable for teething because the puppies can actually get some relief. It's not something that's so hard, like one of those really hard Kong toys that you see that people often stuff with things. Puppies can't begin to chew on that, and not even adult dogs can hardly chew on them very comfortably. So that's not something that's going to be satisfying for your puppy. If anything, that's just going to irritate them, provide them with no relief, and just give them some frustration. Now, Mr. Red Collar has quite a lot to say today because he thinks he didn't have his fair share at the milk bar. So you'll hear him throughout the video. And that is one of the other things that the puppies are doing now, is they are talking. So we hear them giving their expressions when they're saying that they didn't get enough to eat and they're calling JoJo back. You'll hear them growling at one another, and you'll hear them bark hello, and you'll hear them all sorts of happy little gurgly sounds that they make too. So this is when we can really start to communicate with the puppies, understand them a bit more, get to know them better, because now they have two-way communication with us rather than it just being one way. Now on the floor down here, it's quite slippery, so you'll see that they have a hard time getting good traction, and that is why we do not have them on this type of floor on a regular basis. The floor that they are on in the Doodle Den is covered with a high traction type of surface so that they are not putting strain on their joints, and it helps them have more mobility so that they can stand up and do all the things that they need to be doing, including wrestling and playing with each other, which is quite fun to watch. So another one of these toys here, this is one that has a harder bit at the end with the rope, a softer bit here, lots of different textures. The rope part they probably won't use right now because they don't have enough teeth, but it has this nice soft bit, and then the rope runs right through the toy, so that's really good so that it does give them a little bit of that surface to gnaw on. And then finally our little crinkle tagger toy here. just a smaller version of the bunny. Lots of interesting noise. He used to have a squeaker in him, but Mama Jojo has put a hole in the back and removed the squeaker. But you can see this toy is well enough constructed that when she did that, it didn't decimate the toy. The bits of fabric are not falling off for the puppies to be swallowing. So this is a type of toy. This is not an expensive toy, but it is well made. It's certainly more expensive than the type you could find, say, in PetSmart or the dollar store. But you do want to be keeping a close eye when you have a toy like this so that there aren't bits that the puppies can pull off and start to swallow. Let's see if Mr. Red Collar might like it. What do you think? And he says, no, I just want my mom. Don't give me some dumb toy. No, I want my mom. So these puppies, because Jojo is keen on weaning them, we will probably introduce them to some solid food later this week. They probably will not be interested in it. This guy might, because he seems to be so hungry, even though he does have a rather large tummy. Yes, you do. You have a very big tummy. Maybe that's why he's hungry, because he needs to fill it up. He's got more to fill up. But they probably won't be interested until probably a week from now. Usually at 4 weeks is when all of the puppies start to be interested in actually eating. Before then, yep, sometimes. Depends again. If mom's got a really good milk bar and she's really keen on feeding her puppies, then they're not so keen on moving off into solid food. But if mom's milk supply is dwindling a bit, or if mom's like, yeah, it's okay kids, I want my life back now, and she's not in there as much, then of course they're more motivated to eat some of the solid food. So what we will give these guys is some very soft raw food. So it will be some rehydrated Steve's freeze-dried, and that will be beef. And we'll also give them some frozen Stella and Chewy's raw, which will be turkey, and we may also give them some chicken. Right now, for some reason or other, chicken is really hard to source as a protein for dog food. No idea why, but turkey is around, and turkey is really soft, and when it's thawed out, it's really easy for them to be able to eat without having any teeth yet. Whereas the frozen beef and lamb requires more teeth to be able to rip and tear at it. So the rehydrated beef, we just rehydrate it in goat milk. We let it sit for a good hour, get up to room temperature, and it becomes like a gruel. So it's easy for them to lap up. And then we just put a little bit of the frozen raw in there, which makes it a little bit thicker and again a little bit easier for them to pick up with their tongues. So that's what they're doing in terms of toys and development and food. And the other thing, which I mentioned briefly there with the squeaker and everything, is desensitization. So this is part one of socialization. And socialization is as critical as nutrition and everything else in your puppy's life. It is one of the key things that you want to be really focused on. So for this, now that they're in the doodle den, they're hearing all sorts of sounds. When we walk by, we move the X-Pen a bit, so we get lots of noise like that. We might bang on it a bit. We'll clap our hands. We'll come in and we'll go, whoa! Reynolds sometimes puts things on his head and makes all sorts of funny noises. They have their own television in there, so they're listening to all sorts of things on TV, everything from sports to music. Sometimes we'll just leave the TV on so that they hear human voices. Soap operas are actually quite a good thing for them to listen to, because there's a lot of angry voices in a soap opera, so it gives them a chance to hear that type of voice. So lots of things, the vacuum, the mop, everything like that, all sorts of new experiences and sounds. And sounds are the first things we do for our desensitization with the puppies. So that's what the kids are all working on. Yeah, that's what you're all working on. The sounds are that they make themselves are always entertaining. Apparently, Red Collar, you need a ton of attention today. My goodness, you're just running all over and nothing's making you happy, is it? No, you can't decide if you want to be on my lap, off my lap. I think all you really want is Jojo when she's not here. And Jojo, you'll see, or you can't see her, but she's just off camera range there. She's staring at the door because what she wants to do is go outside and chase the ball. This is Jojo's favorite thing in the entire world. She's like, yeah, I fed them before. I don't need to be here. But she'll be back soon because it's just about lunchtime, and she has an excellent appetite. She's eating really well. She's still eating lots, and that's part of the reason why we have such fat, juicy, plump puppies. So now let's tell you a little bit about each of the puppies and where they're at in terms of their weight. This litter, their weights are incredible. For minis, they're really quite something. So I don't want you because you're not first. We'll do all the puppies in birth order as we always do. And we're going to start off with our blue collar boy here. This puppy is just the prettiest little puppy. This is a tri-phantom puppy, and he is a milky chocolate color. So my guess is he's going to be a dilute chocolate just like Mama Jojo. Just the prettiest color. I just love when we have these really interesting dilutes. It's kind of like a pair of faded denim jeans where you've had them for years and washed them so much and they're all soft and they have that beautiful, not just soft texture, but that soft blue color. And that's what I think that a diluted puppy has too, is a beautiful softness to their hue. So if you push this little boy's fur back, there is no change in color. It's still the color that it is on the outside. So I expect he's probably going to stay a little bit more of a milky brown than Jojo is. Jojo's more of a sort of a parchment color. But he is a tri in that he has 3 colors. He's got that beautiful brown, and then look at all those gorgeous copper highlights on this guy from his phantom markings. He has really strong phantom markings on the side of his face, on his eyebrows, and then that pretty white stripe up the middle of the head, and it's outlined by the darker brown around the tan, which is really pretty. Lots of white on the chest, the white paws along with the tan marks, and same on the back here. We've got the white paws along with the tan phantom markings. So just a very handsome puppy, aren't you? Yes, you are. And Mr. Dark Blue weighs 1.44 kilograms, an amazing weight. That's a very big puppy. Mommy loves you. Next is green collar. Well, I see Red's going to go and pout and go over there and just not talk to anybody. He's just so traumatized by it all. Come here, baby. Now, green collar, you can see before I pick him up, he is a darker chocolate. And he has a much darker coat, and he doesn't have as much white on his face. He still does have a little bit of white, or no, he doesn't, sorry. He does not have white, so he's not a tri. He is just a regular phantom. But again, those beautiful copper highlights on the side of his face from the phantom markings, really strong, beautiful comparison there. They really set each other off, that gorgeous deep copper against the chocolate brown. Mr. Green is our biggest puppy in the litter, and he's not fussing about not having access to the milk bar, and he is 1.58 kilograms. Oh, and there he showed you all his little nubby teeth that are just trying to poke through. So that's our Mr. Green. Next we have red collar. Come here, Mr. Pouty. Oh, come here, buddy. Come here. You wanted to come over before. So Mr. Red is the only non-phantom in this litter. He will, of course, carry phantom, which means if he was ever a stud dog, he would be able to make phantom puppies. But because he's red, caramel, and not chocolate or black, you can't see any of the phantom markings that he has. But they're there. You just can't see them because of his body color. He's a very pretty boy. He is very expressive, as you saw, a good communicator, very alert. He's always the first one to be out and about and doing everything. And Mr. Red Collar is the smallest puppy in the litter at 1.34 kilograms. I always want to say kilometers. There we go, Mr. Red. Yeah, you comfy now? You go hang out with your brothers there. And then next we have Yellow Collar. And Yellow Collar is similar to green in that he is a very dark chocolate. And now his phantom markings are slightly different. You'll see, if we turn his face here, there's not quite as much of the really strong copper, and we have a little bit more of sort of a creamy tone in the highlights as opposed to the really strong copper tone that we see, for instance, in green collar here. So you can see there's a little bit of difference in the color on their face, but on their paws, it is the same type of color. There we go. just a slightly different hue. And this puppy as well, this is not a try. These puppies will likely carry her party, but they're just not showing us any of their white party markings. Pretty little head on this puppy. And Mr. Yellow Collar is 1.35 kilograms. So just a teeny bit bigger than Red. And last but not least is our only girl in the litter. And she is a beautiful chocolate tri as well. And she's more of that milky chocolate color again. Hi, pretty girl. And if we brush her coat backwards and we look, there's no change underneath. And if we look at her nose, it's not fully filled in right now. So that generally indicates to us that she is going to fade out. So I expect that she probably will fade out to look very similar to Mama Jojo. Probably a little darker than Jojo, but definitely she will not remain quite as dark as she is right now. She has the really strong phantom markings. And then again, you can see hers go into more of that sort of creamy color here, as opposed to the really strong copper color. Very, very pretty combination. And then you can see down here, she is a tri. She has lots of white on her chest, under her chin, and then on her paws here. And our little lady in the litter weighs 1.46 kilograms. So she's the second biggest puppy in the litter. And that brings me to just one final point. Lots of people say, oh, I want a female because they're easier to train. They're gentler. I've always had a female. Or I want a male because they aren't as bossy and they are more agreeable. There's absolutely no difference between a male or a female, even if they're intact, but definitely not as a spayed or neutered pet companion dog. Absolutely zero difference. And there's no difference as to which one is going to be bigger or smaller either. Zero difference. It is all on each individual dog. So if you're looking for a puppy and you think, oh, for sure I want a girl because, whatever reason you want is going to be present just as much in a girl as it is in a boy, and vice versa. It's just a matter of that actual dog, and also then how you develop that dog and how you learn and what type of a relationship you build with your dog. So don't get hung up on whether it's a boy or a girl, because really there is absolutely zero difference unless you're a breeder and you're looking for a breeding dog. So we hope you enjoyed the update today. It's a beautiful, beautiful litter. I just love all of these different kinds of colors and patterns that we have, even though they are, except for Red, all chocolate phantoms. They all do have very unique qualities. They're all, each of them, very individual. This puppy here is so pretty. I just love these markings because they are so different and unique. And then we have our red collar boy, who is our one and only non-expressing phantom. So if you have any questions, if you want to know more about phantom or Labradoodles or anything like that, please feel free to go ahead and post in the comments. I'm always happy to answer your questions, right, Mr. Green? Maybe you'll help me answer those questions. And if you have a second to give us a thumbs up, please do. We always really appreciate that. And we hope you subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon so that you get notified whenever a new video comes out. Thanks so much for watching. Let's see.